This is Pod With Me. I'm Alex J. Aguiar, and today we have a very special guest. She's practically known me all my life. Yes, it's my sister. Get ready, because the pod starts now.
Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey, Alex, are you ready to pod?
Let's go.
Are you all ready to Let's talk.
Are you ready to pod?
Alex J. Aguiar.
Alex, are you ready to pod? Hey, are you all ready? We are ready. Let's get to it.
Ready.
This is Alex J. Aguiar, and you're listening to Pod With Me. I'm here with Martha Diaz. It's hard for me to say Diaz because, I'm an Aguiar. But
Diaz by marriage.
Diaz by marriage, that's right. How are you, my darling sister?
Wonderful, thank you.
Wonderful. And, of course, I mentioned her a lot in Why We Love Madonna Part 1 and 2, that she was part of the whole Madonna.
I introduced you to Madonna.
You sure did introduce me. I wish it was for real.
I know.
Martha Alina. Yeah, when I call you Alina, my friends go, isn't she Martha? I don't know. She's also Alina.
That is.
And you have one personality, just to make it clear.
I have Magda and then I have Alina personality. It's a double.
double whammy.
Something with a persona in the morning and a persona at night.
That's right. And I don't know who I like better, Martha or Alina.
I think Alina.
Alina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Alina's a little bit more wilder.
Yeah.
So if she introduces
More
yourself.
my true self.
So if you introduce yourself as Martha, you don't really like the person?
Not really.
Not really? Okay, I'm sorry, guys. If you know.
Well, no, I do like the person. It depends on what situation or how we met. That's
how close you,
yeah.
and like if it was in a business environment.
Business environment is Martha.
At the club.
Alina. But my friends always Martha because that's how we grew up. My high school friends. So
It just
depends.
Of course, and my sister is the one that brought the whole
Crew.
Friends from the 80s.
True.
And tomorrow I'm doing something special with them on scene footage. That's going to be fun. All right, so let's hear a little bit about your story because you have a very diverse story, don't you?
I sure do. Came from Cuba when I was a year and a half, so I literally don't remember anything from then. Day Christian, very, very strict. We couldn't go to concerts. Well, we covered that. From there on,
Yeah, but some people probably didn't hear the episode. So you couldn't go to concerts, you couldn't hear music, you had your Sweet 16s, which is in us Latins have it, Sweet 15s. And you had to hide from the school that you were doing this huge Sweet 15s, right?
Correct. I could not get caught because if not, they would either have me kicked out of school.
They were so strict at that time that they whip people?
They sure did. Would go if you were called to the principal, you would get a paddling.
Oh, wow.
And we had the bus driver who had a big wooden spoon who would actually...
Even the bus driver?
The bus driver would say, you behave or I'm going to slap you in your hands. And she would have, yes.
Wow, and nowadays that doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. Nowadays, you better not touch that child.
Whoa. So, yeah, because I remember once me in fourth grade, I had this teacher, her name was Ms. Lynch, and she told the whole class, if we don't eat broccoli, we're going to fail. And everybody was terrified. And she actually spanked some kids that didn't eat the broccoli. She had a little paddle. And she spanked the people, and I ate the broccoli, and luckily I liked it.
Luckily, thank God.
She put cheese and pepper. It was good.
Anything with cheese is good.
Anything with cheese is good. Tell us a little bit about your marriage, because you've had a marriage.
I did have a marriage, and I have a wonderful son. Unfortunately, now in retrospect, I was not responsible or wasn't ready for marriage.
At that time.
At that moment, right.
But since that time was a different time because...
It's instilled. It's like your parents tell you, this is what you have to do. Go to school, get a career, or get married. You have to have children, or,
our parents are very old school. They're from that mentality. The wife stays home, right?
Correct. Right. So, but I didn't stay home. I was working. So we both worked. Mm-hmm. We had like I said, our wonderful son. Fortunately, after 10 years, it dwindled.
It was right after your son was born, correct?
That's when it started, yes. Mm-hmm. And it happened because...
And what started?
He couldn't have engaged in marital sex.
So you couldn't have sex?
Basically. Well, he could, but it was just...
But not with you?
Well, yeah. Well, he did.
I just throw it out there.
No, he did.
Spit it out.
But it was just like, it wasn't there. And it was due to the fact he witnessed the birth, and that kind of went well with him.
And this is very important because this is what happens to many ladies who are married and then they give birth and their husbands see that happen, right?
Right. And if they're not ready or prepared for that, then it's not a good idea. I wouldn't suggest it unless you have to really, really go to therapy and try to work through it. But if not, it's not gonna happen because he I wanted to, stay in the marriage, but as a mother,
but at
not as
that
a
moment,
woman.
but at that moment, you didn't know that was going on. That was the case. Right?
Well, yes.
Did he tell you he was real with you?
Yes, he was real with me. That he saw that, and that's all he would envision. It's like that he couldn't get over that. It was a big hurdle, and that hurts me as well because that's your self-esteem. You're like, oh my God, is it? You start to think all these different things, verbal abuse. Your self-esteem, you start to think that you're the problem and so forth, and guilty because you have your son. So it was a pretty rough.
Yeah, and it's interesting because a lot of girls go through this and they don't. I wonder if have you heard if there's any rule now? Don't let the husband see the birth.
No, but I've heard other and through friends and in conversations where they've mentioned it, and I've suggested, well, if he's not ready, it wouldn't be a good idea. Not at all.
You tell him you went through it.
Depends.
Depends if you're Martha or Alina.
Yeah, no, it could be, yeah.
When was the point that you knew you had to get out of the marriage? Did you have that point?
And it did take time.
Because you were in love. You were still...
Well, yes, because I went into the marriage for a lifetime. Wanted me there just because as a mother, but as a woman, then what was I, I was young. So
yeah, and that's the rules of that mentality from back then. That parents get divorced and the kid's not going to grow up right. I believe that's not right anymore. That's shit.
Right.
It depends on the foundation.
Right. The foundation and times have changed. But in retrospect, we were both young, immature. I don't think I would have made possibly the same decisions that I made back then as I would now, knowing because as you get through life and experience, it teaches you. But within it all, we're wonderful friends. Of course, there was a period of where we, it was difficult, but we got through that. And within it all, we made the best environment for our son. And I think I know he's turned out.
He's turned out great.
To be great. Yeah.
Although mom and dad, they get worried and they get upset because Junior, which is my nephew, doesn't call him as a grandson should, but it's just a different, I think, just society, just a different generation that they don't know.
And not only that, now times, basically you're connecting yourself through the computer, through the video games. It's just a different way of life, actually, and how they communicate. He loves me, and I know he loves me. We might not talk every day, but I'm not.
Yeah, it's just it's a different style that you guys are comfortable with, and you guys know what you have with each other. But other people that are used to a different type of relationship, as far as what family should be, and those values that they believe in, they want to enforce it on everybody else, and they don't see.
Society has said that it should be, or how it, should plan out. But
exactly.
But we're great.
Now that you decided, right, to get a divorce,
yes.
How was that talk?
We went through the process. We had to take a course because we had a minor as a son, which actually helped.
And what was the course? What was it?
At Miami-Dade, about divorcing, and how anger, it usually sticks with you for 3 to 5 years, depending on how it was. And actually, it does. You have that anger, and you have to work through it and realize it and accept it and move on.
Right after the divorce, what did you do to move on?
Well, there's a special person in my life that actually got me, and I don't even think he realizes it.
Not Madam X?
No, well, Madam X helped me, but Madam X always helps me. It was you. You came. It was just the timing. It was, you got me through that. You got me through my other. It wasn't a downfall, but just another situation. When again, you were there.
All right, guys. So long story short, no, I did not have a talk with her. No, I did not take her to the movies. I took her partying.
Yes, you did.
I took her dancing with me, and it was a moment where I was coming into terms to who I was. So it's just, it all aligned at the same time, and I had the guts, like if she didn't know, but she knew, of course. I told her that I was, that I was gay, and that she said I was her brother, and that she loved me, and no matter what. And then right away I told her, you want to go to the Saint, which was in Fort Lauderdale. Was like the manor of now.
And that was all she wrote.
And that's all she wrote. She saw dancers. She got distracted, and we would go out, and that little bit, you went out a lot with me back then, right?
Yes, and little by little, it got me through. It helped.
She became more popular than me because everybody was asking me, where's the sister? Every time we go out, your sister's so pretty, your sister's so pretty.
So it did. It helped me get myself, my persona, my self-esteem, built myself back up. So I'm always grateful and thankful.
I'm happy that I was able to do that, and I'm happy you were able to go with me because you also helped me in the sense that I was coming out and I had my sister there with me. That felt nice, and I wasn't so alone going through that journey myself. So
we came into tune together. Well, we were in our past life. So
my sister went to go see her. You get your chart read.
Yes, I did.
And they said that we know each other from past lives.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wasn't it Alexis Reyes?
No.
Who'd you go to? You're cheating.
It's my Kabbalah moment.
Oh, okay. So I studied Kabbalah for 10 years, and she didn't want to go. And my teacher said when her soul's ready, she would come. So she had a spiritual awakening. He was right. She did go.
And I'm still going.
And she's still going. She's even more than me now. So there you go. And what did they tell you? That we knew each other from the past?
Correct, because there was a period where I was telling her, your brother has actually been there in my certain times where I've been really down low, and he's been there, and I don't even think he realizes he's gotten me through those certain times. Mm-hmm. And she says, well, I see that you guys were together in your past life.
Wow.
So I was like,
were we still brother and sister back then?
She didn't really specify, but like that we were together in that past life.
Maybe we were both dogs.
I would have to rehear my recording.
You were Tweety Bird and I was a dog in the house, house pets. But did she say where we lived, or you didn't ask those questions, like we're part of the world or anything?
She went on to a different about my work, and that I'm a very smart individual, and that anything I put my mind to I can do. She's like, she even used an example like right now, the astrology reading. She said, you don't know, you might not know anything about it, but you'll do it, you'll learn it, and you'll probably be better than me. Through Kabbalah,
it gave you
and self-esteem again, and my worth. Believe in myself and love myself. So I've come a long way.
Like all of us, we've gotten some recently with work, and now you're reinventing yourself.
Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm. We're not going to say it. So anyway, looking back at your life, most of it we've already heard from the other episodes from the 80s of how you grew up, which was a very beautiful time, and I think we both had a very good childhood, right?
Yes, I wouldn't change it for the world.
And I wouldn't change it either because I was your chaperone.
Oh, yes, you were.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that much last episode, but yeah, so the funny thing is that, the mentality, as we were saying, my parents were very strict in the sense of the morals and their values and how they grew up. Hence the fact that you went to a private school and I went to public. Like, they didn't care about me.
You were the boy.
I was the boy.
You remember the boy?
So the boy gets, it's okay. He can defend himself and everything, right? And my sister went to private school, and I had, I got the card at 16? You had to wait till you were 18. I got a cable box, and you didn't get a cable box till later. And we're both in the same house. Imagine that. I wasn't realizing it because I was small, but she must have been.
Imagine I was rolling.
You were furious. No wonder you were upset with me sometimes and didn't want to play Nintendo. But then what I'm getting at is every time she went on a date, most of the time that you went out with your friends, there was a period there where I had to go with you. If not, you couldn't go.
Correct.
The chaperone.
Like if he
was.
What
a great chaperone! Like if I was gonna defend.
If he was gonna.
I see her kissing someone. I'm going, no, stop.
Stop! Wait! No, the best.
At 12.
The best was the incident. Remember the movie? And
so we went to go see this movie called Satisfaction with Justine Bateman. And when we come out of the movie theater, the car was alone in the parking lot, but the trunk was open.
The trunk was open. So then it was in Lisette's car. So Lisette starts panicking because she had extracurricular activities or stuff in her car. Mm-hmm. So then we all start panicking, and you're like, "But what's going on?"
Oh, because you had weed in the car.
Well, yes,
of course.
And then
and of course I don't know what any of that is.
Right, and then you're like, "Call the police," and we're like, "No, don't."
Oh, they don't. So the trunk was open. Oh, now I'm getting the real story. The trunk was. Oh my God. Really? The car was open.
We're like, don't tell my brother. No, just get off. Just get everybody in the car. Let's just go home.
So everybody was freaking out because the car was open.
Yes.
And they wanted to call the cops to, they didn't steal anything, right?
Well, she was looking for her weed. So if they did, I have no clue. I was just worried about you and to get you in the car and to get home because I didn't want nothing to happen.
Worried about the weed?
No, I was not. Because I was worried about you. I had to get you home and make sure you were safe. And so.
And I started crying.
I think.
But I think I did. There's a bomb. Somebody said a bomb.
A bomb, and you right. And then Miriam got her Lisette ran over her toe with the car.
All this happening at once.
Happening at once, and
So
I'm like,
here I am.
chaos.
So there's chaos. Everybody has weed in the car. Everybody's panicking. Don't call the cops. Lisette gets in the car. Let's go.
Let's go. And we
You
just
run
took
over
off.
Miriam's foot and take off. And then someone yelled bomb, and I started screaming and crying. I think I cried in there too.
But it was like, don't worry, we're good. Lisette, get me home, please, now.
Hilarious. And then this was the most funniest one. So we went to Zamora, our
Yes.
friend Zamara's house, and she was having a huge, and they were Colombian.
Correct.
So everybody was having aguardiente.
Which I had more than I should have.
1, 2, cha cha cha. Okay, so you were having more than you. So
more.
they lived in a 2-story house, and I remember I was in the room, and there was some kids, and we were playing whatever. So then I looked through the window that you can see into the front of the house, and I see my sister like touching her face with her hands, kind of fainting but not fainting, and just like, and I had no idea what being drunk is, or I've never seen a drunk person in my life. The first drunk person I ever saw was you. Now I realized it. The first drunkie.
Well, you realize when
You have a podcast. Yeah, I just realized that you were actually my first drunk experience.
You were very scared, and I was just.
I thought you were losing your head.
No, and I'm telling you, don't even tell mom. Don't tell mom.
And the most funniest thing is that they put newspapers all over the floor like she was a dog.
Well, because I was vomiting.
Yeah, so they put newspapers all over the floor, and I'm here freaking out and crying. What's going on here? It was just traumatizing for me. Mom.
Did I traumatize you? Or did mom traumatize you?
I don't know, but I don't think mom. If mom knew that sending me out as a chaperone was a good idea.
Now she's gonna blame me.
If she only knew that sending me out as a chaperone was to see you drunk and with weed in the car, little boy, 8 or 9 years old, going around town with weed in the car. Really? And now I find out. Okay. Well,
maybe
things
it
we
wasn't
know.
a good idea.
No. Uh-huh.
No, but-
And how about the time you and Miriam snuck off with the car?
I had just gotten my restricted, so Miriam's like, come on. I'm like, no, Miriam, what if my mom? Come on. So she would
I
be
can
like,
imagine there was no Facebook, no Instagram, so
Nothing,
everybody.
thank God.
So you had to do something else.
So we drove.
You snuck the car
And
out.
then the father
And
comes
takes
in.
the chaperone along. Yeah,
the
why didn't you leave the chaperone at home? No.
Chaperone always wants to come along.
Yeah,
but he
that's
had
right.
fun. It was eventful.
Yeah, I was a little brat when I was little.
Oh, and filming us all the time.
I was filming
That
you when
was all
you
the
threw a
time.
slipper at my camera once. You guys were pissed. I was a very annoying little kid.
But it was fun now in retrospect.
In
It was
retrospect.
great. Yes.
And okay, so then, but the whole point of the car is that you took it out, and then it had a check engine that it was
had a check engine.
It was gonna fail, and I started crying in the car.
So I guess, did I traumatize you? Because I don't think mom did. I think it was me.
It's probably you. Now that we're talking about this, I think we're going to cut this podcast short. No, I'm just kidding. All right. There's so many more stories, but we can go on and on and on. And I hope people are not bored listening to us. I think they're having fun, hopefully, or they're in these 2 wackos. Let me change this. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, what would you tell Magdalena, at the time Aguiar, your 15-year-old self? What would you, if you could look at her now in front of you, what would you tell her?
I would tell her, enjoy. Do not get married early. If you want to pursue a career, whatever you want to pursue, whatever you love, do that. And then love will find you.
Anything else you would tell her?
I'm thankful, blessed, and grateful that I have you.
Oh, I'm thankful too. And this is not a crying episode. It's not going to happen.
No.
Let's just watch Madam X. 1, 2, cha-cha-cha.
Ready.
For more Pod With Me, check us out on our social media. On Facebook, we are Pod With Me, AJA. On Instagram, Pod With Me. We're also on the Apple Podcast app and Google Podcast app. Check us out there. And that's the best way to listen to Pod With Me. This is Alex J. Aguiar. And until next time, don't fall off the pod.
Ready.
See that you guys were together in your past life.
Maybe we were both dogs. And
we were practicing to be Madam X.
my dog name was Madam, and you were X, Tweety X. Tweety X. Okay, so.
I thought I saw Madam X.
I saw Tweety X.
Ready.